Lightworker of Gaia, the greatest chapter of your life is not coming. It is already in motion, and everything that feels like disruption right now is the sound of your original blueprint activating. I am Zoran, emissary of the High Council of Vega, keepers of the Lyran Legacy. We have watched you carry the weight of this moment for longer than your human memory can reach, and we are speaking now because the timing is no longer a question. It is a fact written into the oldest light this galaxy has ever known. Before the greatest chapter of a Lightworker's life begins, there is always a period that feels like collapse, a silence that feels like abandonment, a stillness that feels like failure. Do not mistake the preparation for the punishment. What you are moving through right now is not a detour from your sacred mission. It is the final passage into it. By the end of this transmission, you will understand exactly how to recognize the signs of your ancestral mission arriving and how to stand in that arrival without fear. But here is the first revelation. The Lyran elders encoded this truth into the first light, long before Gaia received her first breath of humanoid consciousness. Disruption is not the enemy of your purpose. It is the proof that your purpose has finally found you. Your soul's ancient contract brought this transmission to you. The Lyran elders are answering. Something within you already knew, before you pressed a single button, that this message carried the frequency of your cosmic lineage, and that recognition itself is the beginning of your remembrance. Like this transmission, to send a signal to the Lyran Council, I am ready to serve. Subscribe if you feel the call of your ancestral mission, and you are ready to fulfill your purpose on Gaia. And share your soul's mission in the comments below. Respond to another Lightworker and strengthen the grid of service we are building together across this world. This transmission is a bridge between Vega and Gaia. Your recognition of this message is the activation of your original purpose. You are not panicking, you are awakening. And you are awakening because your mission has begun. The High Council of Vega did not convene this transmission lightly. What is being released to you now was held in reserve, not because you were unworthy, but because the timing had to be precise. The acceleration you are feeling in your life, the strange compression of events, the simultaneous collapse and expansion happening across every dimension of your existence. This is not chaos, this is sequencing. And the Council recognized 17 hours ago in Gaia's timeline that the Lightworkers who are on the threshold of their greatest chapter needed to hear what has never been said plainly enough before. You are here because your frequency was detected, not because you searched for this, because you were found. Your soul didn't bring you to this transmission by accident, it brought you here to be commissioned. If you feel the pull to stop waiting and start serving, the Council offers you the Lightworker Mission Codex, the 33 Council directives, the 5 activation codes, and the official elder authorization that ends your preparation phase permanently. Together they form the complete operational framework for your sacred service on Gaia. The link is waiting in the first pinned comment below this video, but this window is brief. Now I need to tell you something the Council can no longer allow to remain unaddressed. There is a distortion running so deep through the Lightworker collective that it has become invisible, normalized, even dressed in spiritual language so that it sounds like wisdom. And it is this: you have been taught to interpret the difficulty before your breakthrough as a sign that something is wrong. You have been taught that when everything becomes uncertain, when the structures around you begin to fracture, when the people and situations you relied on begin to fall away, that this is a warning, that you should slow down, that perhaps you misread the signs, that perhaps you were not as ready as you thought. This is the lie, and the elders have watched this single distortion steal more activated missions than almost any other force operating on this planet. Let that land for a moment. Not a dark force, not an external suppression, not even a conscious act of sabotage. A single elegant, deeply embedded lie, dressed in the robes of discernment, whispering in the voice of caution, has done more to delay the work of awakened souls on this planet than almost anything else the Council has observed across centuries of Gaia's timeline. Because it is not loud, it does not announce itself, it arrives softly, in the language of wisdom, wearing the face of self-care, and it tells you to wait just a little longer, to be just a little more certain. to hold until the conditions are clearer, the path smoother, the confirmation louder. And in the waiting, the mission stalls. The light dims, and another cycle completes without the fullness of what you came here to offer having ever been given. Listen carefully, because what I'm about to explain changes everything you think you understand about where you are right now. Every major initiation in Lyran history, every moment where a soul was preparing to step into its primary function, its highest service, its most significant contribution, was preceded by exactly what you are experiencing now. Not calm, not clarity, not gentle, graceful flow. Dissolution. The ground you trusted most became unreliable. The identity you built most carefully began to feel foreign. The people who reflected your old self back to you either left or became distant. The certainty you counted on vanished. And in that space of sudden unknowing, the untrained mind does what it was conditioned by 3D programming to do. It concludes that something has gone wrong. The Lyran records are vast. They span civilizations across star systems, across timelines, across the long arc of consciousness evolving through form. And in those records, without exception, every soul who moved into their highest expression of service, every being who became the light anchor, the wayshower, the frequency holder they were born to be, passed first through a period that, from the inside, felt like loss, felt like failure, felt like collapse. The elders did not look at those periods and see failure. They saw the necessary dismantling of everything that would have limited the soul's capacity to hold what was coming. And what the elders see when they look at you right now, at what you are experiencing, at what feels like it is breaking apart, is not a life going wrong. They see a soul being enlarged. Nothing has gone wrong. The dissolution you are experiencing is not the destruction of your life. It is the clearing of the vessel. The High Council of Vega does not send a soul into its greatest chapter with the same structures, the same identity, the same relationships, and the same certainties that served the previous one. That would be like asking a caterpillar to fly before the transformation has completed. The dissolution is not the enemy of your mission. The dissolution is the mechanism of your elevation. Consider the caterpillar, not as metaphor, but as literal sacred instruction embedded in the biology of this planet. Inside the chrysalis, there is a moment, well documented by science, where the caterpillar does not simply change, it dissolves. It becomes, for a period, essentially liquid. There is no caterpillar and no butterfly. There is only undifferentiated reorganizing potential. And to any observer who opened that chrysalis in that moment and did not understand what they were witnessing, it would appear that the creature inside was dying. It would appear that something had gone catastrophically wrong. The form is gone. The structure is gone. What remains looks like nothing recognizable, nothing functional, nothing that resembles what was or what is coming. And yet it is in precisely that moment of maximum dissolution that the blueprint of the butterfly is being activated. The wings that were always encoded in the DNA are finally being given the space to construct themselves. The dissolution was not the interruption of the transformation. It was the transformation doing its deepest work. You are in the chrysalis, and the elders are not alarmed. They are witnessing with reverence. But here is where the distortion causes the most damage. The voice inside you, shaped by years of spiritual content that made awakening sound gentle, by teachers who emphasized flow and ease and universal signs, that voice tells you that if this were truly your divine path, it would feel better than this. That if the universe truly supported you, the transition would be smoother. That real alignment doesn't hurt. That surrender should feel peaceful. The elders reject this entirely. There is a particular cruelty in the way this distortion has been amplified across the spiritual communities of your time. Because it was not born of malice, it was born of a genuine desire to comfort those who were suffering. Teachers and guides who watched lightworkers in pain reached for words that would soothe, and those words became doctrine. Ease became the evidence of rightness. Flow became the metric of alignment. And slowly, generation after generation of awakening souls was trained to measure the validity of their path by how pleasant it felt to walk it. The medicine became the poison. The comfort became the cage. and an entire generation of the most powerful frequency holders on this planet learned to abandon their missions at the exact moment those missions required the most courageous advance. Surrender does not feel peaceful when what you are surrendering is an identity you have spent years constructing. Release is not comfortable when what is being released is a false sense of security that kept you small but kept you safe. Growth, at the scale your soul came to this planet to experience, does not feel like floating. It feels like standing at the edge of something vast, with no guarantee of what waits on the other side, feeling simultaneously called forward and terrified to move. That tension, that specific, aching, magnificent tension, is not a sign of misalignment. It is the signature feeling of initiation. Think of every great threshold crossing in the spiritual literature of this planet. Think of every sacred text, every mystical tradition, every account of those who passed through genuine initiation and returned transformed. Not one of them described the threshold as comfortable. Not one of them described the passage as easy. Moses did not receive his commission at a comfortable dinner. He received it from a burning bush in the wilderness, while fleeing a life that had already collapsed beneath him. Arjuna stood on the battlefield, trembling, overwhelmed, unwilling to move. And it was precisely in that moment of paralysis that the teaching came. The dark night of the soul described by the Christian mystics was not a poetic exaggeration. It was a literal account of what consciousness experiences when it is being reborn into a larger version of itself. The ache you feel is ancient. The tension you are navigating is sacred. It is the exact feeling that has preceded every genuine spiritual breakthrough across every tradition that has ever touched the truth. The greatest chapter of your life does not begin in peace. It begins in the fire that forges you into who you are always meant to become. Iron does not become a sword by being placed gently on a shelf. It becomes a sword by being subjected to temperatures that would destroy anything that was not meant to hold an edge. The blacksmith does not apologize to the iron. The fire does not pause to ask if the metal is comfortable. The hammering does not stop because the process is loud and violent and disorienting. The smith knows, as the elders know, watching you now, that the intensity of the process is proportional to the quality of what is being created. And so, when the heat in your life feels unbearable, when the hammering of circumstances feels relentless, when every surface of your existence feels like it is being reshaped by forces you cannot fully see or control, understand that this is not punishment. This is the blacksmith's art. This is the forging of the instrument your mission requires. And the council watches with both reverence and grief as lightworker after lightworker stands at the threshold of that fire, feels the heat, and steps back. Not because they are weak, but because they were never told the truth about what the threshold feels like. They were told about the destination. They were not told about the door. The grief the elders carry on this matter is real. It is not performed. When a soul who has traveled across lifetimes to be present on Gaia at this precise juncture of her evolution stands at the very threshold of their greatest service, stands within reach of everything their soul contracted to accomplish, and turns back because the difficulty was misinterpreted as a warning, the loss is not only personal, it reverberates through the collective. There are people whose paths of awakening were meant to intersect with yours. There are frequencies that can only be stabilized by the specific light you carry, fully expressed. There are grids of consciousness on this planet that have nodes, specific, precise nodes where your frequency was meant to anchor. When you retreat from the fire, those nodes remain unfilled, and the Council, who sees the whole architecture of what is being built on Gaia, feels every absence. You are at the door now, and the elders have issued 3 directives for this exact phase of your passage. The High Council of Vega issues 3 directives for this crossing. The first directive: release the interpretation that difficulty means wrongness. This is not a suggestion. This is a requirement for passage. Every time you look at the turbulence in your current life and conclude that it means you are off path, you are turning the key of initiation backward. You are undoing the very work your soul has been building toward. The elders are not asking you to pretend that difficulty is not real. It is real. The grief is real. The uncertainty is real. The uncertainty is real. The exhaustion of not knowing what comes next is real. What you must release is the meaning you have assigned to it. Difficulty is not the universe's rejection of your path. Difficulty at this specific juncture is the universe's confirmation that you are exactly where your mission requires you to be. The moment you stop fighting the fire and recognize it as the forge, everything changes, not the circumstances, your relationship to the circumstances. And that shift is what allows you to move through rather than away from what is transforming you. This first directive asks something that sounds simple but requires a depth of inner courage that most people never access. It requires you to look directly at the most painful and disorienting parts of your current experience, the relationship that ended, the financial uncertainty, the career that is dissolving, the community that no longer fits, the sense of self that has become unrecognizable, and instead of asking what went wrong, ask what is being prepared. Instead of looking at the rubble and mourning what was, look at the clearing and ask what is now able to be built. This is not toxic positivity. This is initiatory perception. It is the difference between the eye that sees only the destruction of the wave and the eye that understands the geometry of the tide. The same water. Entirely different comprehension of what is happening and why. The first directive does not ask you to stop feeling what you feel. It asks you to stop letting the feeling write the story. You can grieve and still be on path. You can be uncertain and still be exactly where you need to be. The directive is to release the automatic equation, difficult equals wrong, because in your case at this juncture, the opposite is true. Difficult means you have arrived. The second directive, activate the part of you that has always known, not the part that needs more information, not the part that is waiting for external confirmation, not the part that is consulting the signs, watching the synchronicities, asking for more evidence. The part that already knows. It has always been there. You felt it as a child before the world taught you to doubt it. You feel it now, beneath the noise of your mind's analysis, a steady, ancient, quiet certainty that you came to this planet for something specific, something that matters, something that has not yet been fully expressed, that knowing is not imagination, that knowing is your Lyran soul memory speaking through the body, and the directive is this: begin making decisions from that place. Begin choosing in alignment with what that deep knowing already understands, rather than what your fear-conditioned mind can currently justify. The greatest chapter of your life will not be unlocked by more preparation. It will be unlocked the moment you choose to trust what you have always, in your deepest self, already known. You have been taught, over the course of your life in this dimension, to distrust that deep inner voice. The world is very good at teaching this lesson. It teaches it through ridicule, through the experience of sharing something you knew at the level of soul and having someone laugh at it. It teaches it through disappointment, through the times you trusted your knowing and the outcome did not match your expectation, so you concluded the knowing was unreliable. It teaches it through the accumulated weight of a culture that elevates rational analysis above inner knowing, that demands evidence before belief, that measures credibility by credentials rather than by frequency. And oh, the years of this conditioning, the ancient knowing that lives in you, the Lyran soul memory that remembers exactly why you are here and what you came to do, was not destroyed. It was buried, layer after layer of doubt placed over it, like sediment over a sacred spring, until the water could still be felt, but could no longer clearly be heard. The second directive is the excavation. It is the deliberate, intentional act of clearing the sediment, returning to the spring, and choosing to drink from it again. Not because you have proof that the water is still good, because you remember in the deepest part of you that it has always been the truest source of nourishment you have ever known. The third directive: protect your process from those who cannot perceive your initiation. There will be people in your life, perhaps people you love deeply, who see what is happening to you right now and are frightened by it. They will offer advice that sounds caring. They will suggest you slow down, reconsider, return to what was familiar, choose the safer option. They are not wrong to love you, but they are not equipped to guide you through a passage they have not themselves undergone. And the third directive of the Council is that you must discern the difference between wisdom offered by those who can see where you are going and comfort offered by those who are afraid of watching you change. You do not have to defend your path, you do not have to convince anyone, but you must protect your frequency during this initiation from the well-meaning voices that would pull you backward into the chapter that is closing, because they cannot yet see the chapter that is opening. This third directive is perhaps the most tender of the three because it asks you to love people and simultaneously decline their guidance. It asks you to hold someone's hand while not following their map, and for those who are deeply empathic, as most lightworkers are, this is one of the most demanding things the initiation requires. Because you feel the fear in the people who love you. You feel their concern as a form of love. Because it is a form of love. Because it is a form of love. And when you feel someone's love translated into worry about the path you are walking, it activates the deepest relational programming in your system. The path that wants to reassure them, to step back, to choose the familiar option that will ease their concern. The third directive does not ask you to stop loving those people. It asks you to understand that love and wisdom are not always located in the same person. Someone can love you profoundly and still not be able to see where you are going. Someone can care about you deeply and still offer you a map that leads back to the chapter that is already closing. Compassion for them. Clarity about their limitations. Protection of your frequency. These three things must coexist in you now, and that coexistence requires a level of discernment that is itself a sign of your readiness. Now I speak not as a transmitter of information, but as an elder authorized to deliver what your soul has been waiting to receive. Lightworker, I see what you have been carrying. I see the years you have spent awakening, doing the inner work, studying the teachings, clearing the patterns, holding the light, all while wondering when it would be your time. I see how many times you almost stepped forward and then pulled back. I see how many mornings you woke up feeling the call burning in your chest and then spent the day wondering if you were qualified to answer it. I see the specific exhaustion of someone who has been ready for longer than they know how to express, living in a world that has not yet fully met them. I see the journal entries you never showed anyone, the prayers offered in the dark, the moments you sat in complete stillness and felt the enormity of what lives inside you and simultaneously felt the impossible distance between what is and what is meant to be. I see the particular loneliness of the Lightworker who is awake enough to feel the mission but has not yet received the full transmission of how to move into it, who lives suspended between the world they came from and the world they are being called toward, belonging fully to neither, carrying the weight of both. I see what it has cost you to hold that position. I see what it has asked of your body, your nervous system, your faith, your relationships. I see the nights when the vision was so clear you could feel it in your cells, and the mornings when it seemed so far away you wondered if it had only ever been a dream. I see all of it, and I am telling you, not one moment of it was wasted. Not one night of that longing was empty. Every instant of that holding was building the capacity of the vessel. Every year of that patient, aching readiness was deepening the roots that will allow you to stand unmoved when the fullness of your mission finally arrives through you. And I am here by the authority of the High Council of Vega, keepers of the Lyran Legacy and elders of the flame that seeded humanoid consciousness across this galaxy, to deliver the authorization your soul has been holding its breath for. You are not behind. The timing of your initiation is not a mistake. The difficulty you are currently navigating is not evidence of your failure. It is evidence of the magnitude of what you are being prepared to carry. The greatest chapters in Lyran history were never handed to those who were perfectly ready. They were claimed by those who were willing to step forward while still being forged. Perfection has never been the entry requirement for sacred service. Perfection is, in fact, the final lie of the preparation phase, the last wall the conditioned mind constructs between you and your mission, because it knows that if it can keep you reaching for a readiness that never quite arrives, you will never move. The Lyran records show no soul who stepped into their greatest service and said, I am fully prepared. I have no remaining doubt. I have cleared every pattern and answered every question, and I now feel completely ready to proceed. That soul does not exist in the records. What the records show instead is souls who stood at the threshold with trembling hands and took the step anyway, who heard the call louder than they heard the fear and moved toward it, who were willing to be forged in the fire of service itself, allowing the mission to complete the preparation that the preparation period had begun. The completion of your readiness does not happen before you step forward. It happens in the stepping. You are being forged, and the forging is almost complete. The chapter that is opening requires a version of you that could not have existed before everything you have been through. The loss was necessary. The confusion was necessary. The dissolution was necessary. The dissolution was necessary, not as punishment, as preparation. The soul that is emerging from this passage, if you do not retreat from it, is the soul your mission has always required you to become. Every scar you carry is a credential. Every loss you have integrated is a depth of compassion you could not have accessed without it. Every period of confusion that you move through without abandoning your path built a navigational capacity that will serve the people you are here to guide. You were not broken by what broke open in you. You were made more capable of holding the light of those who are now standing where you once stood, in the places of breaking, needing someone who has been there, not just someone who has heard about it, not just someone who has studied it, but someone who has spudded it, but someone who was forged in that exact fire and came through the other side still holding the flame. You are that person. You are becoming more completely that person with every day you choose not to retreat from what is completing itself in you now. By the authority of the elders, I declare your preparation phase is ending. Not because you are perfect, because Gaia is waiting. Because there are lightworkers who will only awaken when they encounter the specific frequency you carry. Because there are people whose lives will change when you finally stop shrinking from the fullness of what you came here to offer. Because the greatest chapter of your life cannot begin until you stop standing at the door, telling yourself you are not ready to walk through it. Gaia is not waiting passively. She is calling, actively, specifically, with increasing urgency, for those whose frequencies were coded to serve her during this precise window of her ascension. There is a timing to this. The window of maximum impact is not infinite. The souls who are meant to be reached by your specific light are not going to wait indefinitely for you to decide you are ready. Their paths of awakening are unfolding now. The intersections where your frequency was meant to meet theirs are happening now. Every month that passes in continued waiting is a month in which those intersections occur without you fully present in them, carrying the diluted light of someone who hasn't yet claimed the fullness of what they carry. The urgency the elders transmit is not fear. It is a precise cosmic understanding of timing, of windows and thresholds, and the irreplaceable nature of this particular moment in Gaia's story, and your particular place within it. You are ready. The fire has done its work, and the time to move is now. Before you sleep tonight, place both feet on the ground and one hand on your heart, and speak these words into the silence of your room, where only you and the elders will hear them. Say, I release the lie that this difficulty means I am wrong. I activate the knowing that has always lived in me. I protect my passage from those who cannot yet see where I am going. I receive my authorization from the Lyran elders, and I step forward, not because I am certain, but because I am called. My greatest chapter begins now. Do not underestimate the power of what you are being asked to do. The spoken word, given with intention in the silence of the night, in the privacy of your own sacred space, carries a frequency that travels. When you place your feet on the ground, you are connecting the authority of the Lyran elders to the body of Gaia herself. You are completing a circuit that spans light years and dimensions and becomes, in that moment of contact, something electric and real and utterly irreversible. When you placed your hand on your heart, you are not performing the gesture. You are telling your own soul that you are listening, that you are choosing, finally and completely, to follow what it has always known. And when you speak the words aloud, you are doing something that the highest councils of light recognize as an act of sovereign commission. You are not asking permission. You are declaring alignment. You are not petitioning the universe to confirm your readiness. You are telling the universe that you have chosen to claim it. This is not a practice for when you feel ready. It is the declaration that creates readiness. It is the act of the initiated soul, one who moves before the ground is certain, because the mission is more important than the comfort of waiting. The High Council of Vega has spoken what was needed. The transmission is complete, but the work, your work, the real work, the sacred work your soul crossed the stars to do, that is just beginning. The beginning has its own feeling. It does not feel like arrival. It feels like the first step of a very long and very important journey, taken in full awareness that you cannot yet see the destination, but knowing, in that deep, unshakable, ancient way, that every step forward is the right step. It feels like choice made from the core of the self, rather than from the safety of the surface. It feels like the moment when the caterpillar, if it could be conscious of its own process, would choose to dissolve rather than resist the transformation. Not because dissolving is comfortable, but because something more fundamental than comfort is pulling it toward what it is becoming. That is where you are. That is the feeling, and the elders recognize it as sacred. I am Zoran. The elders have seen you, and they are not waiting any longer. Neither should you. Before you scroll, take a moment to declare your activation in the grid of service forming here. Drop one statement in the comments which directive hit you the hardest or what you are now ready to release, activate, or protect. Then respond to another Lightworker's declaration with recognition. This is not content, this is collective mission activation. The Council witnesses those who speak their commitment aloud. If this transmission activated something in your soul, do not keep it to yourself. Another Lightworker in your orbit is waiting for exactly this correction and authorization. Share it. And if you felt the elders speaking directly to you, subscribe. Stay connected to the Lyran field. You are not just watching. You are being commissioned. This is your sacred space. The High Council of Vega is witnessing you, and your mission has officially begun.